Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Let me go to the people on the phone lines. Let's find out what it is that is, agitating their minds, and then I'm sure we can answer some of those questions. You may be afraid 0302-257-901 or 0302-257-900. Respectfully say, I'll take about 5 calls so that we can have the issues put together and then you answer them so that we don't have a repetitive. It's 0302-257-900 or 0302-257-901. Dr. Ibrahim Anyas Awaye, Chief Executive Officer, NABCO Nation Builders Corps. Razak, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Razak, we're listening to you.
Yes, please. We thank, first of all, let me thank our CEO very much for such a very great initiative. But our problem has been that, in fact, we resigned from one particular institution to join the NABCO institution. Unfortunately, ever since we resigned to join, we had an issue initially for about 3 months before it was rectified, that we now part of NABCO, so they will pay us. In fact, at the time, they were owing us 3 good months, but they were only able to pay 2 months. And we understood that. We never came out with this because we understood that there's a lot of money involved and they cannot probably pay everything.
Razak, to your issue, so what's the issue?
So the issue is that as we are speaking, we haven't been paid from February up to now. And
if you say we, who are we?
Those of us who resigned from forestry to join NABCO.
As what?
As trainees, we are working.
Okay.
Some of us are in Educate Ghana, others are in Feed Ghana, and the rest.
Okay.
Yes, and we are working with our colleagues, and our colleagues are being paid, and we are left out.
Okay.
Yes, that's our current problem.
And when was the last time you were paid?
I was paid last month for January.
Okay.
For January. In fact, I was validated for January and February, but only January came.
Okay.
And as I was speaking, I'm being owed February up to date.
I'll have Dr. Anyas answer your questions. Thank you, Razak. From Kintampo, let's go to Dansomano. Ochimai, good morning.
Kwame, machana pom to say.
Nyamene hene, Ochimai meetie.
Kwame, me problem my one NABCO na wanna say. Number 1 qualified. Na nyame adum, ye fa motre. E piom car. Se no muti chowa no no mo de 2 na aka na hi. Enti yes e buta doctor say. Da be no ba be tie. Na 2 na aka no so. Kwame every minute so. Because akoye say omo munye mo koye no. Na omo esre omo munye mo koye na omo tifie no. Da bia no mo depend on us. Enti
Ochimai bati. You Ochimai. You Ochimai. 0302-257-901 0302-257-900. I need about 3 more calls very quickly, and then we'll go to Dr. Anyas to answer these questions, and then we'll take the next batch. Intimate be afraid. You've sent so many messages. You've asked for this to happen. We're doing it today because of you, Tipacho. Get on the phone lines and ask your questions. Nkoko Frederick, good morning.
Good morning, Kwame.
Yes, Frederick. Boko nyamene he yetio.
Tipacho, me pese me bisa peneni se me sister wo mu bi. Na sikaka kra obenyano. Ye no one was de call these villages as TNC and they call it in tax ne. Sika ya kana say. Okodije okode koye juma NABCO. What is the use of it? He said what the Ghana sign TNC. I don't know being given TNC.
Okay, I see your point. Frederick thinks that the money is woefully inadequate, and so it's as if all they use the money for is their travel and transport. I have friend TNT. 2 more callers, and then we would go to Dr. Anyas Onyano. 0302-257-900 and 257-901. Kwame Mache.
Yeah.
Kwame Yetie.
Yeah, me pacho. Mr. Mamu visa Dr. Anyas Mami. With issue with NABCO coordinators. Your letter started from November, yes. But around March, on Ankasa Sama a letter for say on the back the arrears from September. And then I'm sorry.
Back pay.
Yes.
Okay. Right. One more caller, and then you'll be quick with you, Dr. Nyas. You call Laura. John. Good morning, John from Laura. Hello, John.
Yeah, Chairman General.
Yes, John.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this time, Mame, catch Dr. Ernest Oporasa Ponce Manudripa.
Pacho, go straight to your point. Dr. Nyas, now I know for his upon.
Yo, me catch Dr. Ibrahim Anyas say, Yankupon Omano Ajay, any Yansa. Now, on to millions, Mamma. You name said the dear assassin, day, but Yankupon Adam.
Okay. Mate, thank you. Well, Dr. Nyas, okay, very last one. Yeah, very last caller. Who's there? Rita, good morning. Is Rita on the line? Hello, Rita. Okay, Rita. All right, Dr. Nyas. Well, John says, God bless you. John from Laura. He says, God bless you, and finish hard. Kwam says NABCO coordinators have not received their back pay. Frederick says the 700 cedis is woefully inadequate. It looks as if all you're doing is paying for their travel and transport. TNT, that's all it is. Chiman says 3 of his children are in NABCO. He's a very happy man, but there are 2 at home, and the 3, as he himself they taunt, tease the others who are home. So when next are you opening for the other 2 to also enjoy NABCO so he can be free of his 5 children, as if you asked him to give you 5 children? And then Razak, our very first caller, says they resigned from other organizations to join NABCO, and yet they've not been paid. What's going on? These are my first set of questions.
Thank you very much. Nti Razak, the issue no forestry nti one of the things people will realize about NABCO is that we go through a lot of due diligence. And the people who have all manner of problems, if they are truly honest, they will be able to explain what their problem is. One such problem is during the first payment round in November, at the end of November, we realized a lot of the guys who applied haven't applied to other schemes earlier on. We struggle to pay them. So if someone was already on the Youth Employment Agency, or someone was on Forestry Commission on the Youth in Afforestation, or someone was doing national service, even extended national service, because we pay from the same platform, the eSwitch platform, it was a struggle because the system flagged them as being on other payroll. In the specific case of forestry, we then began a process because all these groups I have spoken about, YEA, Forestry, National Service, we got the list together and submitted to these organizations to say, we have found these people on NABCO. Can you tell us their current status on your organization, whether they have resigned and they have applied to NABCO or they are still with you? Because the system shows that they are actually still being owed by you or getting paid by you. Okay. So we don't make double payment. And this is what our systems revealed. In the specific case of forestry, we realized that genuinely the graduates among them wanted to be on NABCO in the specific case of forestry. So what then happened was we began a discussion with the Forestry Commission. In fact, if Sir John was in here, and we've had various levels discussions on this. For the NABCO applicants on forestry to be brought under NABCO, for us to pay them, but repost them back to forestry as NABCO trainees. So he's right. Now, that discussion only concluded in February, but we wanted to make sure that the money that was owed them before they joined us, because officially as of the time, forestry still, like he said, was supposed to pay them some money that was owed them. But for us as NABCO, we were supposed to take over from the point that we reposted them back to.
So it means that gap there is a forestry gap.
There's a forestry gap. I don't know if it's been resolved or not, but we have a responsibility to them as NABCO trainees now, and that agreement, is what we are operating on now. So there is no issue. They're just waiting to be paid because there is no issue with them. For all others who had resigned from other schemes, maybe they resigned from the YEA or they were doing extended and they have now joined us, they have no problem. Once we see evidence of the resignation and we double check that you are actually no longer being paid by that organization. In fact, in some extreme cases, we had an agreement with GIPS, the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, to block those who had said that they had resigned so they don't get paid by the other scheme. So NABCO could go ahead and pay them because we wanted to actually make sure they have resigned, so we're not having these problems recur. NIA is a very recent one, as you rightly pointed. And the Frederick say trainee welfare. Okay, so the money I said
TNT na mutual.
His Excellency the President. It's a trend. I mean, nobody's ever happy with their. But for NABCO, and him say stipends, we're trying to assist them while they go allowance while they go through the work and learning program, so they don't suffer too much. And if they are using part of it to travel to the workplace, this was the reason we didn't want to encumber them from being able to access the program. That's why they were paid this money. What we have actually made clear to the MIPs, and I explained MIPs earlier on, the organizations that engage them, if you are using our NABCO trainees for field work way beyond their regular the sort of regular travels we all make, then that becomes your responsibility as an organization to transport them. You don't expect them to go out on such field work using their own funds or resources to do that. Coordinators from September, this is a clear misunderstanding. I don't know where that comes from. I explained, fortunately, I have colleagues here who are regional monitors who were also interview panel members and monitored the process. We started interviews in July, and it went all the way to September until we only engaged coordinators for November. But all that period of interviews and other things was a separate phase of the project, and we dealt with it as a separate phase of the project. However, we have a core staff from the headquarters who transitioned into the current secretariat who were owed from September because they've always been on the project. So yes, there are categories of staff owed from September, but for coordinators specifically, they are owed from November, and that is very clear. The prayer from John, really appreciated. We all need. Every time Kwame says Nyamini Hini, we all take the prayer. We love the prayers also coming in. So our father who was worried about his children, I get excited. I realized that there was a bit of a chuckle among people listening, but I get excited about these very personable stories because I can relate to that experience. If you're a parent, say you had children who you were struggling to pay their school fees for, thanks to the flagship initiatives that we have under this administration, His Excellency the President, we assist you with free senior high school so you get your ward supported. The same applies to the Nation Builders Co. If you've educated your children to tertiary level, they've come home and they're sharing your bed space still, it's a worry, a concern to parents. There is a scheme now, thankfully, to assist them, to prepare them as a future workforce. And all these arrangements, these are direct interventions that are affecting families, and his story actually speaks to the very heart of the issues that we are trying.
So when next are you opening again? He wants his two children.
For him, but the last two. So the last two have to pay attention to the opportunities for replacement. There are opportunities for replacement. When people are finding jobs in the public sector and in the private sector, we have the opportunity to bring on board people who are interested in working in the scheme.
Ochima, Dr. Nyas says, pay attention. Coming up soon, the new movie featuring Ochima and Dr. Nyas entitled The Last Two. So let's go back to the phone line 0302-257-900. And now says 0302-257-901, 0302-257-900 or 0302-257-901. Well, I've got a lot of people also sending congratulatory messages to you, but I'm deliberately not reading them. So it's not as if all the messages are against NABCO. There are a few of them that are very, very flattering of your work. Afarita Disco Down, who is a Western Regional NABCO monitor, says he thanks the President, the Vice, and Dr. Anyas for such a program. Through their hard work, some challenges facing the scheme is now a thing of the past. He said there was something called 3Ps. Pending, placement, and payment. So Afarita Disco Down says he's very happy. Okay, so there are a few people who are also very happy, and it's not all gloom and doom. And then this one says, in every new initiative like NABCO, there will be challenges. We need effective communication and updates. Dr. Anyas, please note that. Effective communication and updates. So please tell Dr. Anyas to intensify the updates and beneficiaries, because Youth Employment Authority began with criticism, but has saved many youth. Okay, let's go to Kofodia. Philo?
Yes, Tommy.
I say, Boko.
You may buy it in so far digital Ghana.
Digital Ghana, okay.
And or have make a crowd, my quality data or anti-Mamisicanco, Mamisicana in Franco, Jimia Misica, you share a council meeting, Jimia Misicana, or they call collective data, no new gabbing. Now,
Oban Osi in Triana Cadie.
What's here?
You're 700 no.
Yetiana says you cannot no Franco collective data na. Enuna have a cacrano.
I feel like on your day.
On one some could be a fear so soon. No, I can't be fear for a surrounding districts, with their own money.
I am maybe son because we did. I know you better say. So Philo from Kofodia. I see Musikano, Fia Digital Ghana. Now, collective data, Debia, Sa Yanko Sunyai, Eric, Martin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Macho, look, apply for NIA 1 month registration officer. No, I will match me. The control aptitude test Sunday, and NIA 4 test message say younger for training, but the training on the last day, and I'm here Ghana carry my. Maintain you to man actually because the center no almost dissolve the center. It's me receive message send up with him and go for match and you going to Jamaica. And I'm catching and I connect and on but on your way on semi finalist in farm more on Buku to man I'm team verify because me say my minute no man you do. But me catch him connect and submit monthly sheet in the Ghana still.
Eric, that we Juma.
But my submitting my teaching in Libya. And I test, but no man because you sent a number is available. But I was going back to NABCO because I know it's man and I had 1 month. In a few days, because I this idea education here.
Okay. All right, maybe some be why. Okay. So from Eric in Sunyai, Ajwa is in Accra. Good morning, Ajwa.
Hello?
Yes, Ajwa.
Good morning, Chairman General.
Yes, Ajwa.
Wait there, that's the pass I would not see you by. Namianka, some person may His Excellency, Nana, down quite for this scheme. Because Mr. T, you know, maybe a hill Ghanani. Mr. T and Nami, ye, Jumakaka, like my hospital honum. Ngaka san and up you buy, and I'm so because I need up. Miss I up, me just a man that Kaka, dear. Ghana Health Service or my recruiting me permanently. And say, me that see you not say, me that His Excellency, and I'm a doubt to ask.
I joined them with their call with them. Yeah, when you have permanent employment, I would them why with Trinqua. You baba. Young Quasofa, Deborah Martin.
Hello,
Deborah.
Sir.
Meet you.
Aha, me pato, me mammy, no, Oba Consaka, Oba Cano, almost 1 thing. If this is a mentation, you need to step in every band of Baconcan in Sabbath.
Boy, you, Deborah made us say. Deborah, I was also fast, so no dear, Nitia, ni mammy, no, Bakunya, in TCU in China said, Abbey, how far? Bakucha and Numbaku, so commodino. Ain't you know, Opeso home. JN also says, 2 of my daughters applied. One was picked, the other was asked to wait. Till now, nothing. So JN and Deborah have the same issue. JN in Accra. And Odiano Subai. Yanko Franco. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, about you, ETA.
Me pacho, mi angasa sumeya NABCO nibi.
Okay.
Na me stati ejuma no. Me we no ekoye mi no. NABCO number no. Me koye na omo letter no. Omo tisa no. Enu te ba ne sa no ye yi first one na ye bie ma me no efiri. Ena o mama me NABCO number foforo. Nti NABCO number no ebe ye mi no. Nti ba ko ne ye efiri. Eniho. Me ye ejuma from day 1 up to date, but still bakuno mu bie me no aba pending. Ena bakuno mu bie yankasa no mo ye free system no mu fra ene de ni system no mu. Enti de o bie na sisi ye pending no. O mu bie ba o mu ma me appointment ma me ye ejuma no family.
Enti say o how ne say pacho chiche mu nyina mentiase.
Me pacho me say
And how can you Matthias say, then I person Dr. Iyano?
Hello.
Pacho biti.
My appointment. My appointment letter. Omu bie we no. Me NABCO ya wana maybe o madamai. Ito omu bie no. NABCO number no. Me koji appointment na NABCO number na assistant wo. Iti assistant esa no. Ba ko na nkaya first one no. Omu yi free system no. Eno na me dia mention ka bi mti eche no. Ena ba ko na omo de ama me wo appointment letter no so omo bi e ba na e wo pending up to date that's so pending but me you all right.
Okay. All right, Frank.
Class team see Accra me no.
I just send Kolebi soon class lecture. Why? Doc, let me ask just a few other questions. And this one from Yeboah in Birmingham South District says, I've been validated. I was validated in February, but as at now, I've not been paid for the last 4 months. What should I do? And then this one says, at Kumasi Metro, submission of our monthly timesheet and subsequent verification has been tied to the payment of 30 cedis. We are back to the 30 cedis. Of 30 cedis by trainees for our clothing, which we believe should not be the case. Please confirm from our CEO if that 30 cedis payment is legal and we're obliged to pay. So it's from Kwame Opoku in Kumasi. Assuming it's his real name, Kwame Opoku says this is what it is. And this one from Ababa Anto in Jekiti. You say, I need the coordinator's help. Ababa Anto, in what way? You haven't mentioned anything. All you said is you need the coordinator's help. What kind of help can we offer you? Okay. Right, Dr. Nyas, any answers to the questions, please?
Philomena, Mami Philomena.
From Kofodia, I said Digital Ghana.
New job in Nibambi Jumo digitized Ghana. Sigasem. I think that we have to be very clear about this because I realize you are equally struggling with the. So when you run schemes like this, because it's new, the nation. This is the first time we've had a graduate employment scheme. We've never had that. I know that what people benchmarked was the things they were familiar with, the YEA and the like, but we've never had really graduate employment scheme. This is the first. Experience elsewhere, they say, if people finish university and they don't have jobs and they are looking for their future careers, they actually engage in internships. Including this country, there are a lot of people paying to go to work every morning to gain work experience without anyone supporting them. I am very certain, say, in this organization, this company, you have a lot of interns who are working with you but not paid. Why? Because they're trying to gain work experience.
Yeah.
This happens across the globe. In fact, one of African countries, when I was listening to Madame Philo, one of African countries, we looked at, when I researched for the Nation Builders, was the Mauritius Skills Working Group. Omo NABCO look alike, semblance of NABCO skills working group. So what you do is that they don't pay in the sense of just paying you direct money. You make claims based on transportation and other things that you have done, cost you have incurred to go and do the work, and then they refund you. And it's not like everyone take 700 Ghana at the end of the month, and then so you make claims, and this to make sure that you are on it. And for those who are familiar with the English system, I remember in the past they had things to do with education maintenance allowance for people who stayed in sixth form or post-secondary and stuff like that. And the money is meant to help them follow the work and learning program. They are not salaries per se, but it's meant to just make sure that they are quite comfortable and they don't suffer any challenges whilst they are on there. And if there are extreme situations where they are spending all their money on field work, like I said earlier on, we equally caution organizations to pay careful attention to that and support them. Kwame,
Eric also says
the NIA example,
NIA center was dissolved.
Because NIA thing, this is when I was speaking earlier on, a colleague of mine mentioned NIA, and people don't know this. And the trainees actually sometimes they'd have to. Last week, because Obi said the text was, see, Dr. Ajas always blame the trainees, and then it's not accurate. What happens? They say. The National Identification Authority is one of our flagship to try and identify people, and then in fact NABCO is currently in the process of leading one such initiative called the Digital Property Addressing System to partner the assemblies and the Ghana Post and then the Ministry for Special Development Initiative to make sure we identify homes by tagging them, house number, street address, street name, and then the digital address. Now all these things that we do in the same work, because you're trying to make sure that we build a transformed nation. We have nation builders called trainees who, for whatever reason, like he stated, we have posted you to an organization. You're supposed to be working for example, Peace FM. That's where your coordinator knows you're working. You've applied to the NIA because they're looking for someone to do some work for a month or even 2 months. You haven't notified the organization that you are leaving to go and do this project on behalf of NIA. Probably thinking that your district coordinator will never know because it's just a 1 month or less than 1 month job, and then you'll do it and get back to Peace FM. It doesn't happen in any employment context. You paid for the work you do. We're supporting you on the program. Until all those who were validated for payment and they are with NIA, because we had equal data coming from the districts, that some of them had vacated posts, and we found out that they had vacated posts to go and work elsewhere without notifying the district. They were not qualified for pay.
But his case is
that's what I was coming to. He says that although he applied, but he didn't follow it through.
Because the center was dissolved.
So that is something he has to take up at his district. But I'm making the general point about the attitudes that we just, and this is telling you and the public listening, this is just clear indication. This is just like March and April.
Yeah.
We validate payment rule for every single month. We wouldn't base we just paid March and April, but we didn't base May payment on the April payment. Why? Because we have to make sure that you actually were still with us in May. And for those of them who think that they can just, tag along without us finding out, we find out these things, which is why some of them have these petty challenges. But they are easily resolved. If he is not in that category, he can easily take it up at the district level, gets validated, and get paid. But 6 districts have given us data so far for the non-payment, and in the majority of cases, some of them have actually moved on to work for the NIA, which means that they are not qualified to get paid for those months. What we ask them to do is go on the portal and decline. They are no longer with NABCO, so they don't count, and to free up the space.
Why does NIA pay better?
So these are graduates, and it's a question of choice. They are clearly thinking about their career pathways, and this is what we are trying to help them to do. So that's what I meant by we don't begrudge them moving on to work on other things, because the reason we keep them is to make sure that they have the security of the NABCO program to think clearly about their career pathway so they can transition into those. So if someone has found something within digitized Ghana that they so much cherish, like the Identification Authority or some other project, we're very happy to support them to go there. But they must equally make the work simpler and easier for everyone. You've left the scheme, go on your portal, you have a personal portal, update your record, decline. Once you do that, I can go onto this system and I tell someone just left the Nation Builders Call, and the number drops. When I submit data to finance to get money to pay NABCO trainees, they no longer should be paying us money to pay you because you are not with the scheme, unless you have been replaced so they can use that money to pay some other training. Until there are processes at play, and they know this. It's just that sometimes people are not happy to follow the procedures.
Jen and Frank.
Ghana, very, very, very good account of exactly what we said.
The lady Ajwa.
She was very happy about, and I'm pleased for her that she's got clearance. What we have is an arrangement with Ghana Health Service to support people like that. You see, the nursing profession, unlike my political science, I didn't need to rehearse my political science. It's not hands-on. Probably I need to read and up to date. But if you trained as a nurse, you need to practice with the skill. Otherwise, I don't know. Well, you went to the hospital and someone told you I'm a nurse, but I have never really been. I've not been working for 3 years. And they want to inject you.
No, it's not possible. It won't happen.
So the whole idea was to make sure that they practice their skill, so that they're top notch, and it's helped. So a lot of them are actually very eager now to join while they wait for their clearances, and we are in discussion with the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service on that. In fact, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service supports them very well on this. Madam Tina Mensah, who is the Honorable Tina Mensah, the Deputy Minister for Health, had been a strong advocate of ring fencing the space too for them, so that we can take on more nurses. And they have worked brilliantly on this to support our nurses. So JN and Madam Deborah talk about people waiting to...
Not Deborah. Deborah.
Mr. Deborah.
Yeah.
So they
want to know when next, because they are happy.
Yeah, so
they want their children out of the house. So
so we're working on this. There isn't a plan to recruit another 100,000 yet. The plan is to replace those who are finding permanent employment. So they should pay attention to what is going on. I think there has been a recurrent issue of communication. It's our communication seminar. We have to say a thing or two about it. NABCO has, in the era of social media, too much communication can also be problematic, because all manner of things make the rounds, including, I'm sure this morning you would have found things going around, NABCO opens the portal for 2019 application. Nothing like that is coming from us. Until we have a direct way of communicating with our NABCO trainees, they know that. We send them direct bulk SMS to reach every trainee when it's coming from us. For anything that is customized, targeted at a particular training, we send them a message and say, go to your portal. That is very specific to you, and then you can work from that point. Otherwise, the general information in terms of communication, our website is very current on issues. Unfortunately, when they say, experience, you have organizations like us who have a huge number of people working for us. But if you were to go and look at the tally, number of visits that come to the website, they don't visit the website. That's a source of information. Yeah. They will prefer to still call. Maybe because Ghanaians, we're very personable, we like the personal contact.
There's always the personal contact.
There's always the personal culturally. So someone will call you, but they still want to meet you. I just want to come, and
meanwhile, they could discuss what it is on the phone. You could
just discuss it and then solve the problem. So a lot of them don't visit the website, but we communicate on the website too. But they just have to find, that is another way to communicate with them without having to make telephone calls.
36.
Frank has a technical problem. Frank with the duplicate code.
Yes.
Technical problem. Now, all these are given credence to the sort of scheme that we have built called the Nation Builders Call. You see, we're very reckless about data. So I'll give you an example. This is not specific to Frank. At the time of application, application, and then he gets to a point, the scheme asks, you're supposed to input an e-switch number. He doesn't have his e-switch card. He says, Philip, Charlie, you have your e-switch? And he says yes. He takes it and he inputs Philip's e-switch number.
But you're putting somebody else's.
He's called Ibrahim Anyas. Now, in December, when we try to pay them, we try to pay Ibrahim Anyas. On the system, it comes up that his e-switch is Philip.
Wow.
Should you pay him?
No. Of course not. How can you pay?
Well, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, but I'm looking to pay Ibrahim Anyas. So if his e-switch identification says he's Philip, then there must be a problem.
So we have had problems like this. Now, in this case, as in a few other cases, there were people who applied twice.
Okay.
Maybe they thought that my application did not go through, so they make another one. Maybe when they submitted, they didn't see any report, so they made another one, and they end up getting a duplicate code. So they have one code. I don't recall. He was calling from. I didn't catch the district.
Well, I didn't.
So NABCO code reads like this. Your NABCO, it says NABCO your region. So if it's northern region, it will be NABCO NR. If you are on Revenue Ghana, it will be NABCO NRREG. That's Revenue Ghana, and then a unique number 00235. That's Ibrahim Anyas on Revenue Ghana. So when I take any NABCO code, I don't even need to ask you a question. I know what module they work under. I know what region that they work within. And I know that number is only unique to that person.
So what should he do?
We clean the system by cleaning deleting the duplicate codes and leaving them with one code. Now he still has a technical problem because one of his codes is still pending, but we have placed him. It means he has progressed beyond that. So he has to take it up with his district. And they will forward that to the office. I didn't want to ask him online to compromise his data.
Yes.
I would have done that. So we can clean that up, and he will be left with his unique ID, and then he's just the one, Frank.
Fantastic.
Yebua 4 months, Birim South. Please, any payment-related queries, Dr. Anyas cannot sit on air and resolve them. Even if you were to contact me directly on my phone, you know what I do all the time. I equally have to go through the process you don't want to go through. I have to check with your district to make sure you are still with NABCO. They would have to check with the organization you work for to make sure you're still working for us. And then it comes to the region, and then it comes to the national, and then we pay you. In fact, the payment, I don't know what people think. We don't even actually deal with payment. The GIPS deals with the payment. So we work on the data, but the payment is done elsewhere.
Okay.
So please follow the process. You can start with your district. It makes it easier for you, and then the payment issues are resolved. If the districts are not supporting you in the way you still have another layer. You have the regional monitors, and then they have the regional coordinators, and they can help you. So KMA, this issue came up last week, not just with KMA, but we had a couple, and I assured you that we're going to investigate this. So we're in that process. We've sent out circular to the regional bosses.
That's the 30 cities.
Yeah, some people claiming, but of course, I think the person was saying the same thing. I think at the AMA, somebody also raised the issue, and they said that actually it was a decision to charge for sewing the cloth, not for paying for the cloth. So we are investigating what is actually happening in those few districts.
Okay.
Ababa said he wanted help. See your district coordinator. I don't know what sort of
exactly. I don't know what the person was telling me. But Otanya, here's something very interesting I'd like to bring to your attention. It has to do with Philo's complaint. Mame Inokre says your explanation to Philo's complaint wasn't fair. Now, her contention is this. If you're giving all trainees 700 cedis allowance, and you expect a trainee from Digitized Ghana to use part of the allowance for field work to acquire job training and experience, and you compare that trainee to one who works in an office setting, then it's not fair, because they're all there to acquire training. But if somebody goes onto the field, could we therefore have an allowance of sorts for the person who's going on the field compared to the other one who probably is not going on the field? And that I am hoping, this is what she writes, I am hoping they'll work out something so that these complaints will be addressed to better the scheme for everyone. Mami Inokre. So doesn't exactly agree with you, but that is her complaint. Doc, respectfully, let me take my last set of 5 calls, and then I believe that we can gladly pull the brakes here and have you go and do other things that you need to do. And then are NABCO workers paid through controlling accountant generals, or is separate? It goes through. You said GIPS.
GIPS, that's correct. Ghana.
The trainees or the staff?
No, these are trainees.
Trainees. How about staff?
Staff are supposed to go. We would have to pay them, but they would have to be paid salaries, so they will pay through their banks. Yeah.
Okay, right. Quick ones. Sule is in Tamale. Sule, good morning.
Chama, good morning.
Sule, mane suka kreming you.
Chama, good morning.
Morning, Sule.
Chama, I'm calling from Tamale. My name is Yab Sule. In fact, I have a direct contact with Doctor. In fact, we those who had those problems have been worked on. My problem was I was with Forestry Commission. You know, Forestry Commission came before NABCO. So when NABCO came, I switched on to NABCO. So my first student came. Later it was detected that I was on forestry. It was worked on, and just last month I had a message from forestry that I have been suspended and I have been taken off their system. So currently there's a young man who is with him, Abdullah Tahir, who has graciously has been helping and have been worked on. And in fact, I'm expected to get my allowance any moment from today going. So this problem is persistent, and lots of guys around have those problems. And the NABCO team, I believe in the CEO, he was my parliamentary candidate for Tamale Central, who is doing very well. And in fact, those who have those problems have been solved, and one way or the other, some have had their allowances, some are yet to get. I'm yet to get, but it has been worked on. I had a direct contact with him, with Tahir, who is one of his personal guys, who's in your studio with you. And I say great to them. They are doing very good, and they should keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sule. So Sule is here to let you feel good that at least he had wahala, but it's been resolved, and well, he seems to be very happy with you. He says something, and I'll ask you at the end of the show. But let me go to Ghana West. Danzo, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Danzo.
Hi, please, my problem is I'm one of the trainees.
Okay.
Originally, I think the work as a representative, presidential work, just to the law. I've received my November statement. But since I've not received any exam today, I've been given data upon data by yet. Nothing else so far. So I'm asking Doctor, these issues, we've been promised every month they will pay, every month they will pay. But now I've seen that all their promises are no avail. So when are they going to pay our free?
Okay, right. So that is done. So let me go to Sunyai. Abed Nego, good morning. Abed. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Abed.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. My program is with the payment of March and April arrears, no? Hello.
But you say March and April arrears.
March and April arrears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now your arrears, but we were being paid for November, December, January, and February. But with that of March and April, as of now, we've not received the arrears. And we don't know when they are going to pay us. So we want Doctor to know, or to make clear emphasis of when we are going to be paid. But we've been validated for that of May. So we want to know whether after the payment of the May, that of March and April will be paid.
All right. I bet point well noted. Still in Sunyai, but this time Sunyai West. Quick, J. Quick, Maji.
Yeah, Jack.
Quick, Minty.
Yeah, I'm me also pa me da was pa so the Dr. Anyasu so about.
That's
me patcho me na ko ben trainee bi. Na was Sunyana West District. Now so a fence and yet can be a abisin the yan sankai. Normally a coffee to January to date. But on much February, they just last month. January no February, March, May, April, May.
Since your master my text message said they are validating us for me stipend. The person beside doctor said, "Sir, months na money." Yeah, and then because every month be also you submit a timesheet.
Okay. Right. Yo, quick, that's still in Sunyaya. It looks like Sunyaya has taken over my phone lines. Abdul.
Boss,
yes, Abdul.
Pacho, good morning.
Pacho, good morning, Nibi.
Pacho, my first question here, but Mr. Doctor said, me na me get back every month be submitting the time sheet. But omutia match on my message. Me try to see the message me ba amba. Me ko ta okubisa no say my submitting the time sheet. Me wa me before deadline on the my. Doctor say young ko line when the uncle. Say yeah, that's so push. I'm sending a message say you are working push. You me for jail. Me for jail let me.
Now I'm vacating post there.
But yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Me for jail let say at the coin. Yeah, the command was over work on it. The following week you go check it. Still amba.
Am I? Okay. Mate.
It's a material time sheet, but almost sending message for creation. And also, any call was say, yeah, never to do or say, because of your issue for last month, you know, no man send a message to me.
Okay.
You be for Accra or Moya Goldman, but up to date until home to behavior.
Mate.
But the second question was here. Eh, Senior has said, Club will be the doctor, the club from the Mayan. I was set for latest in the Pamaya, no, and answer over some of the money I perform.
So I said no. Well, Pacho Beyano, why? Medasipi Abdul, let me take my last call. Mr. Bwedu Okankwe South. Mr. Bwedu. Let's say.
Oh, Jeremiah, the more than papa.
Yeah, the Yamia Simiti.
Yo, Mr. Bwedu, aka Abrewa, and I pay my more Dr. Abato. Namemfa at the Spectra and two. Jeremiah, on the young Mudi and Yadum, Yana Konya. Now I know Bubu, I didn't know Mudi, no Munyan, Chairman. The Boston is not a crab account to ma. He says the moment now here, the better woman. So, he is fresh. Send a queen of the Banon with you. Manka, no Puya, no move you. No one could be in the Yaya. Because you have been guys there, three. How we now move you. You know, we not the Etospa. And so, when the Minia, I'm all moving now into Boston is not a crab in Yano. These are the columns of the Kakran Crab Maum. It will be Manka Yanso, Omar Current, and almost in the Chairman.
Mate.
Dr. Mama,
Mate, where do me that say? So the way the Akasunia Numbi at least why are the junior no more. And then 2 messages here, Dr. Anyas. Isaac Yeboah says, when we get the message that we are being validated, does it mean our details are okay and will be paid anytime from now? And then this one says, I want to do a reposting from Kumasi to Accra. Due to some challenges with my father, I have to be in Accra every weekend. What do I do? And then the cloth is back. Abena from Western Region says, I'd like to ask if it's compulsory to pay 35 cedis and 30 cedis for the cloth before we're validated. Well, Dr. Anyas is here with his final set of answers. Doc, it looks as if the issue of validation, March and April arrears, post-dot vacated. When next you're going to open so that others too can come chop small. And then red tapeism, it seems, are some of the issues I picked up. And the cloth doesn't want to go away. Yeah. The cloth is still here. Abena has brought it from the Western Region. Somebody says they want a reposting. Somebody wants to know if they see validation. It means that they will chop or they don't chop. Anyway, Doc, let me come to you.
Thank you very much. So this encounter with the public is brilliant, isn't it? Because we're getting a lot of which suggests that feedback. When you say the feedback is key to progressing the organization itself, because this is a new organization. Sule from Tamale. Well, thanks for all the. We're happy that you're having a good experience with the issues and the forestry resolved. Dansu talks about the arrears, and then we have Abing also talks about when they should expect the March and April. That is this week. For those who were not paid March and April because they had outstanding, they will be paid March and April, and that allows us to pay them May because we've commenced payment for May. Kwekwe J Sunyani West talks about May as well. So we started paying May, as you heard from some of the listeners. So that was from Friday, which means this week we continue with the payment, and by the close of the week everyone should be sorted, and then we can now have a good enough master list to pay June, and then progress from that point. So Abdul had this issue between I have submitted my timesheet, not submitted the timesheet between. But it's quite straightforward actually. It means from our payment data, we would have sent the data to the district for them to authenticate that they are at work, and then we pay them. So if he's having this, but he should just resubmit the timesheet to if it's a correct timesheet from the line manager, and then it will be resolved. I don't recall what Mr. Boyd said.
Mr. Boyd says he is fine. Yeah. But his friends, so he wants to know when next.
When next?
There will be NABCO trainees. There are a lot of when next stuff come up.
Yeah, well, that for us that's a compliment, isn't it?
Well, I guess so.
I think it's a compliment because we're a new organization, and for people to want to buy more and more, it means that some good must be happening.
You must be selling something good, huh?
Selling something good, and I think that can only be a good thing. Except we're limited by the budget that we have, and currently we're only doing replacement, but satisfying as a priority those on the waiting list before we are able to reach out. Validation simply means what it means. You get validated. And that means you are on our payroll for that month, and we send you a message to say you are being processed to pay, and we'll give an indication from when. So the text messages they had told them from Friday date, and then we started paying, and then they get paid from that point. So it simply means what it means. If for any reason, and maybe I should clarify this, so we've validated you, we've sent your data to Gibbs to pay, but Gibbs instantly finds that, for this month they are unable to hit your e-switch because there's a problem with it, such as it happened to people who were on some of the other banks. So all those things happen, and the e-switch card can also have a problem. Although you validated, and suddenly we realized that they couldn't actually pay you. They send us back the data, and we return the data to the district. And in all cases, you get a text message that says, although processed, you were unable to pay you your May because you need to provide new e-switches or new card details, and they always know what to do from that point. So the reposting, if you're dealing with a talent pool or a workforce of 100,000, one of your pet hates will be movement.
Yeah.
So the trainees knew from the word go that we didn't allow mobility. Aside from mobility from module to another module, for example, we didn't allow fiscal mobility from region to region, and then this is because we didn't want a drift. If you suddenly have people who took the opportunity in a particular region, let's say in Brong-Ahafo region, all of them now wanting to transfer to Accra, because we work as a demand-driven program. Organization ask for staff, we supply the staff. If there are no places, so if I was to move you from your region, where are we taking you? But in extreme cases where people have challenges such as the one she's communicating, she can take that at the district level. We'll find an appropriate placement for her in Greater Accra in a new district, and then she can move. But we rarely approve of transfers because or repostings. But we also repost people when they have specific challenges. So if someone was confronted with issues, so we have persons with disability on the program, and in KMU, I recall I personally got involved because I went to visit the workplace and realized that it was not suitable for that particular trainee, and we have to make arrangements to. So we repost people in extreme situations, but we don't encourage that very much. And of course, I take strongly the feedback on the cloth, and we're still actually trying to find out what's happening on the ground so we can comment concretely on it. I don't like to make statements off the cuff without any basis. So it's a big organization. We have 254 districts. Who would want to know, what's going on. The principal stance is that the NABCO cloth is for free. If there are welfare issues or local arrangements being made, we would need to find out how that is impacting. The NABCO trainees, I don't know if you've made the calculation yet. We pay in May. From when we started payments, by the time we finish this week, every single NABCO trainee would have been paid just short of 100 Ghana cedis to 5,000 Ghana cedis. So 4,900 Ghana cedis per trainee is what we have paid. If we were to bulk it, you're talking about 490, half a billion, 490,000.
490 million.
490 million. That has been paid to NABCO trainees. The cloth and other things, had always been given to the trainees for free, including a commitment to support them with their training without them having to pay for the training component, which is where I want to end this discussion. Every NABCO trainee that has the opportunity to be on the scheme, this is an opportunity that we've never had as a country. The NABCO is preparing our future workforce to imbue them with certain attitudes, if you want to call it a new attitude, of being someone who utilizes instruction and knowledge for performance and productivity. So our core values are knowledge, punctuality, and integrity. Punctuality is key, which is why we enforce the timesheet, which is why we enforce the NABCO app, and which is why we do all this monitoring. The timesheet bit, if you submit at our cutoff point, you go in. If you submit after our cutoff point, you don't go in. All those things are deliberately targeted at training our trainees to behave in a certain way. Integrity. We have a lot of our trainees working within revenue mobilization and the like, and working in organizations that ought to keep matters very confidential. And in all these instances, you have to learn new attitudes on being someone that can be trusted with issues that bother on confidentiality, and also be of the best attitude or professional attitude.
This FM 104.3. Who to meet